I have a question for you. So before you were filming for UFC, right? How did you get into this?
I got in the Nevada Film Commission and just put my name in there, worked from a PA all the way to coordinating to you name it, audio, camera. I showed up on my first camera shoot and I looked at the guy and go, I don't know how to do this. So I just went with it. Then I ended up helping them out and now the rest is history. So a lot of hard work for like 10, 15 years of just independent work, just trying to make a living.
I have a question. So how do you guys protect yourself from the energies? Because when you run into the spirit energies and the negative stuff, you like sage yourself all the time. Like, what do you guys do?
Yeah, each of us are different.
Yeah, I do not. I walk out and I kind of say, if you want to follow me home, follow me home. I've done that pretty much since season 3. And I tried protection once and it just got worse for me. So I was like, you know what, if I'm going to keep doing this, just go with it, be part of the experiment. So since then, I've never done anything. I just walk out and go home.
And for me, like you, Palo Santo, and as a sage and just prayer, stuff like that. It's not every single episode, but certain locations that we go to, you just feel it. You can feel that something's with you that, you know, or maybe your mood's not right or you're sad or whatever. So I'll clear myself immediately.
Yeah, I don't do any particular cleansing either, but I do try to immerse myself in positivity, like doing stuff you like, and I suggest that for anybody, like going out in the nature, go for a hike. You know, I like to play music and play with my dogs, just finding those things that make you happy and are positive, I think kind of brings me back and grounds my energy.
Do you each have a favorite piece of equipment that you like to use to find out what the ghosts are? Are there things that you can recommend?
I always say my body, and then the gear confirms it. But if you're talking gear, I just love the spirit box. Like I can hear it. I get a lot of evidence. It's like kind of like I should always just have it on me.
It changes for me because we get so much new tech and stuff, but lately, I mean, past 5 years, probably the SLS camera is pretty incredible. And we keep trying to debunk it like, there's no way it's gonna, you know, we've been able to walk through an entire house and nothing forms, and then all of a sudden, boom, just this figure pops up. So it's fascinating. I would say SLS for me.
Yeah, I think like both you guys nailed it. I think it starts with your own body. Once you kind of feel it and kind of, you know, when you bring out equipment to basically verify what you're going through. And the SLS, some of the stuff I've seen on there has been mind-blowing. And then not only do you see it, it happens, but then you can intelligently interact with it too. Like we've had stuff when we wave and it waves back,
Yeah.
or you know, we say, hey, can you walk over here, and you see it move over, and things like that.
Like the band.
Right,
At
the
the
band.
jail.
Yeah, the
That
band
was
at the jail,
amazing when they
and
were like, bow for us, and a bow.
Yeah,
or
we
do a
started
dance. It was
clapping,
doing
and they
like,
bow.
and the whole team would look like
And
they're
it was
playing
like
guitar.
5 figures,
Yeah.
all on stage. They just all appeared.
That was awesome.
That was incredible.
Aaron, what's the scariest place that you got put in by yourself?
Every time I walk in my house, like legit, that's the scariest place I've ever been. Second, well, Zach's museum. I gotta say, that museum is probably one of the most scariest things because he has everything there that's cursed in like history.
Yeah.
So like trying to go in there, I try not to go in all the time, but when I have to, I'm like,
It's
there's
like
a whole 2 weeks of just bad time when I leave. So
It's like 13 Ghosts. He has like containment chambers. for
oh
each.
yeah,
It's-
oh legit. If you haven't been there, go there. It is just unreal. It's crazy.
You guys talked about doing the 4-part miniseries about the serial killers, and one of them is going to be H.H. Holmes. I was seeing if what your plans are for that episode, and who else you guys would want to, look into as far as serial killers.
The H.H. Holmes, I mean, obviously the most famous is the hotel, the murder hotel that he had, but unfortunately it's not there anymore. I think there's a bit of a post office left, and we actually looked into it, but it's a post office.
It's a post office, yeah.
But we found it's actually not as known, but it is historically accurate. He actually rented a home in Joliet, Illinois, and murdered a boy there. And there's, actually historically that this happened, so we focused on that part of.
And his room, he put his remains in the stovepipe and
Right,
everything.
exactly.
Oh, and it was, at first we're like, oh, and then it just happened. It was almost like, I don't know if we said something to piss it or upset it or anything. I don't know. It just was the most scariest, terrifying moment for me. One of them.
Yeah.
There's been a lot in the news about the Conjuring House, that the owners were having issues with it. So is that one of the reasons you're going to check it out?
And we're the first to get in there in a long time. And to be honest, like, You all seen the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, I'm like,
I was gonna say it's scary, but it's also so iconic. It's kind of an honor to be able to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, to pick up
investigate
where
it.
it's
But
like
there-
how Lorraine left off.
yeah, but
Take
there is a
that.
fear of being in that place, especially with us and how we react with ghosts and ghosts react with us. So like, is this gonna follow us? Like, this could be a life-changing moment, which good or probably bad.
Not only
But,
that,
yeah.
but we're gonna, one of our interviews is one of the daughters
Yeah.
that's in the movie. Parents? I can't remember her name, but anyway, yeah, she's agreed to talk to us and actually tell her true story.
So if we're alive next couple months, you know, it went okay, like we're safe, or you'll know.
How do you overcome some of the challenges when you're on a location shoot and nothing's working right?
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking, right?
Yeah, like
And we-
gear and all that, it's
Yeah,
we
frustrating.
get
Or
frustrated.
nothing's really cooking, you're not getting footage that you're making an entertaining show.
Well, it's got to the point now where we just walk in and the
Does
spirits
happen
know and it
quickly.
starts talking.
It's gotta
I'm
be.
serious, like
Yeah.
we pull stuff
Why?
out, it's instant now. Like if you see now in like during interviews and stuff, like we're getting all this evidence. It's just unreal. It's like the longer we've been doing it, it seems to just now the spirit.
So they know
world
you're
knows of
coming
us.
is what you're basically
Yeah,
saying.
we've had a lot of
We've
proof
had
of that,
locations
too.
that tell us that, oh, as soon as, we started contacting you guys, or we started talking about we were gonna go there, then activity started happening.
Strange things started
things
happening.
Like that. But the thing is too, you gotta think, we film for 3 days, we have hours and hours of footage, and, we investigate all night, and what you see is basically like the highlight reel of it. So there is time where we're literally kinda like, all right,
Yeah.
I review
Yeah,
all the
which-
footage, and when I get home from an investigation, like we just did an investigation this week in Pasadena, when I get home, there's 40 hours of footage that I have to go through, find all the highlights, and then I take that to Zach, and show him this is what we've got, and then that's what the episodes are always made of, is from the evidence. Why would we waste time on anything else?
it's like
So-
fishing, sometimes it bites right away and you get tons of stuff, and other times you have to wait a little longer and try different bait, try different things.
I think specifically because we've been doing this so long, every other week, that you get attuned to it, and I mean, we do open ourselves up, and so
We're on their vibration.
I just feel like spirits are like, "Huh, these guys will definitely hear me if I want to tell them something, So,
Question in the back there, sorry.
Hi, for the average person who wants to experience paranormal activity, where would you recommend they go?
I mean, you open up that door and it could change everything. Like in Ghost, the movie Ghost, Patrick Swayze, like they may not leave you alone after that. So like, if you're willing to do it, go to some spots that have incredible history that you're allowed to go to, because you can't sneak into places. You shouldn't do that. You'll get in trouble. There's no point in doing that. But you can call them up and get permission. But it just has, like, if you're from, whatever you're from, that area should have something that's dark or spooky, And just make sure you find out the history of it before you just go into it like that.
and get permission.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of the permission, has there been anywhere that you've wanted to investigate that you can't get permission to?
I want to
Oh,
investigate the White House, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
going to
honestly, I want to investigate Disneyland and the Haunted Museum mansion there. That's like my goal, but it probably will never happen. But
That'd be fun.
yeah, and Egyptian tombs, I'd like to go
Yeah,
there.
that'd be cool.
What's the process in terms of y'all kind of going about getting equipment, like what you actually need versus what you don't need for a particular?
A lot of it's given, like,
I mean, we don't really plan ahead so much. Like, honestly, once we get there, it's in a sense, a live investigation. We're not, we know, we have a few interviews, some people that we're going to talk to, but that's about it. And everything else we just go on the fly. And we travel with everything.
Oh,
So we literally, TSA must hate us. We have probably about
They
40,
just
We had like 40 cases,
plus
40
Pelican
cases they
cases
destroyed,
that travel
and you were
with us,
saying
and
malfunctions.
sometimes, and so that's because every location's different, so we bring it all, and sometimes we use a little bit, sometimes we use all of it, kind of.
Different locations
Yeah.
require different
And
equipment.
if we're not getting something, we put it down, try something else. And sometimes that does get frustrating.
It is like
nothing's
fishing.
working, and all of a sudden you put it down, door slams, no one's rolling, and then you get the gear out, and it's game time. It's like, damn it! Like that happens when we're not rolling a lot.
So, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, what do you guys attribute the longevity of the show to? Because I mean,
Everyone
there's
so
been so
intrigued
many
by what's
people
happening.
who've tried.
Chemistry, I
Yeah.
think chemistry. we're all, the four of us are very different.
Yeah, and it all happened by accident. None of us really knew each other. Like, I just helped them out, and all of a sudden was part, like, what? And had my
Is that back in the
paranormal experience.
documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like get thrown into things, and then Jay shows up, and like find out about him, we become buddies.
And I was just a Las Vegas DJ that saw the documentary, was intrigued by it.
Right.
Yeah, oh, total luck.
Reached out through MySpace to talk to Zach.
you
I just
really?
said, hey, I saw this documentary. It's awesome. You're in Vegas. I'm in Vegas. And then we met up. And he's like, what do you think about paranormal stuff? I'm like, well, I'm kind of into it, but I don't know anything about it. And he sent me to Virginia City, and that changed my life. So.
And then it just spawned from there. You started listening to the audio, and like it's weird how we formed.
And I think
Okay.
what's special about us too is it is us. Like we shoot to show ourselves. We
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
We don't. There's no team
outside
behind that's like, oh,
influence.
do this or do
There's
that
no
or do
partners.
that. Like we
Right.
literally, it's literally our adventure, our investigations doing
Yeah.
this. So it's raw, it's real. You know, it has, and I think that passes on, you know, to the viewers.
Filming
and
it,
you can feel
our
that,
show-
you know.
It's not cookie cutter because, like Jay said, when we get there, we have 3 to 5 interviews. And from those 3 to 5 interviews, like you said, something like, well, I talked to so-and-so that did this, and like, let's go talk to so-and-so. There is no layout, like, we're going to film all this, and this is the script. There's no script. It's just,
We really go in
it's
there.
an
and
adventure.
do it,
Yeah,
right.
like, oh, we need to go to the bridge, or we need to go over here.
And when we
talk
get
to
there,
that
we're like,
person.
oh man, here we go. Like, jeez. And then at the end of it, we're like, whoa!
And
Look how
you're
we're
right,
tired.
I think that is the secret to the show, because all these other shows, and I know a lot of people who have been on shows and had their own shows, everything, especially when they don't have control of the show, like you
Right.
guys do, they're kind of at the mercy of the network, you know?
Yeah, hoping something
And it's,
happens good
a
out of
lot
it.
of it is scripted, it's all
Yeah.
planned out, so.
Yeah, I worked in television and film for a long time, even before I joined the show. And I remember when I first joined, I was just the sound guy, like the first year with the show, strictly just their sound guy. And I remember it was the first show I ever worked on, where when I finally saw the episode air, and I was like, wow, like that's what happened.
Yeah.
You know, so many other shows, you
Right.
know, they twist it and they do all kinds of crazy stuff. But just as a crew guy at the time, I was just like, wow, I was impressed. I was like, this is legitimately what happened and how it went down. So I was
And if
hooked
we-
from it.
And if we don't get evidence, we stay longer. And we're just like, we're here until we have something to show people. And sometimes
And if we
it's-
don't get it, that's fine.
If we
Like
don't
that
get
other
it-
episode that came up and we got nothing.
There was just
ended up being the
nothing
house.
happened.
We were as shocked as you were, but we're like, well, let's show
That's
it.
the
That's
episode.
what happened. Like,
Right.
A lot
we
of
try to
people gave
debunk
us,
everything. And if we
hate for
can't,
that, like,
then
you know,
yeah.
you didn't
Yeah,
have a lot of
right.
evidence. Well, there was no evidence to show. Sorry. It's just the way our show is.
So, you know, we talked a little bit about how you prepare yourself mentally, how you cleanse yourselves, like afterwards and things like that. But a lot of these places that you're going into are decrepit, like the penitentiaries and things like that are falling apart and are dangerous to you physically. Like, how do you protect yourself? You know, you're in the dark, you're dealing with like, you know, those infrareds that are, you know, you can't see much. How do you protect
If you
yourself
see-
physically?
Well,
There is no, you just go in and hope to God. You know how many times we've walked in and go, dude, we could fall through the floor. We might die
Yeah.
here. And we just go, F word, and we go in like straight up. Like there's like no prepping it.
I'll
And
say
you don't
after
know.
10 years, I don't think any of our joints and muscles are quite the same as they
Oh
were.
no,
But,
I've hit my head, cracked my ribs, you name it. I'm the clumsiest
Falling
person alive. So
downstairs.
every episode I'm somehow.
where my
hurt.
hand and my head went through
Yeah,
the door.
it's
And
part of the
If
job.
if you see us wearing masks, Zach wears masks because his respiratory. I mean, he's very, very sensitive.
Yeah, very sensitive.
Um,
We're wearing a mask. like
if
you're
we're
saying,
wearing a
it's
mask,
bad.
it means there's black mold everywhere. I'm like, don't breathe any of that.
And sometimes it's just like screw it because you can't hear yourself talk. And like me, I'll
Right.
walk out and be like, see what happens.
What's your camera of choice to film with?
We shoot
Yeah, like 5
the
or 6
first part of the
different
show. Our main cameras are the Canon C300s, which are great. I love them. They're great workhorse. Like we can hike up a mountain with them. They can get dusty, dirty. They get dropped. They get thrown. And I feel like we've run them through the whole gamut of
Yeah.
environmental
Yeah.
factors, and they always held up. So I love those cameras.
And then just night vision Sonys. And we have a couple Canons that we use, but the Sonys seem to have a better everything. Canons seem to be a little more brighter. And we use those as
Yeah.
X cameras a lot. But Sonys are what we walk around with.
Yeah, interview cameras are different than the lockdown
Yeah.
Yeah.
investigation cameras. So.
So, realistically, skeptics abound in this kind of field. But regardless of the skepticism, this is something that people experience, you know? And so for those people that are experiencing this, that might be surrounded by people that don't believe, how do you suggest that they broach this topic with those people? And for those that are listening that might be skeptical, how do you suggest that they support someone that's having this kind of experience?
I feel like in time, there's been a dialogue that's more open. Maybe 10 years ago when the show first started, it was kind of a thing people didn't talk about it as much. I always hear people that say, oh, we saw your show, and it made me realize that I can talk about it, like I can bring this up, these experiences I've had. So I think, it's good on that sense that people are now sharing stories and dialogue. And there's always going to be skeptics, and I don't knock skeptics. I get it. You should question things. You should, and it's not until you have your own personal experience that you can truly, fully believe. And I think that's what we've all, once you experience it yourself, there's no denying it. And we still even approach things kind of skeptically at first, We'll be like, all right, this happened. How did that happen? Why? Try to figure it out. And, so I get it, and it's just until they have their own experiences,
I was a skeptical believer until Zach said, oh, you want to go to a real haunted place? And he sent me, and I came back changed because I had the experience. It's what I needed. And so then it's just been chasing this to get more evidence ever since. So that's the drive.
I think kind of what you're saying, with people are having experiences, but maybe their family thinks it's crazy and they don't, and they're lacking that support. There is a community now out there. There's a huge paranormal community. I mean, even just through you can do the hashtag and you'll find tons of people that watch the show and they probably have their own personal experiences. So there is a community out there, even if maybe their direct family members don't believe them or kind of.
My brother doesn't believe in ghosts. We have a conversation all the time.
So they can find.
Come on, you're saying this stuff is real? It's real. It's real, man.
I think in 5 to 20 years, that's rough, but we'll have holograms that we can put in our kitchen of some sort of thing that could walk through it and you'll see your family member. I think everyone will believe in ghosts eventually because I think it's just spawned. 50, 60 years ago you said it, you're in a insane asylum. So everyone's afraid to say something. Now, more people are talking about it, more people are trying to invent stuff, and I think in the future, we will be talking to loved ones or just spirits around. I think it's just going to be part of the whole life.
Has there ever been an experience that made you question if you wanted to continue being on the show?
Every lockdown.
Okay.
All the time.
I'm always I'm gonna quit, I swear to God.
This thing was moments
but it's you're so scared, not worth it.
Yeah, you
not
really think what else could happen? We've seen this, we've experienced that,
And then something else new happened.
what else? Then something just happens that blows our minds and it just terrifies us even more. And it's funny because sometimes we'll be like, this episode's the craziest ever, and then another one will be like, no, this one's the craziest. It just keeps
everything's
going.
Different feel, you're saying,
What has been your scariest moments on the show so far?
So many.
And there's
I couldn't even remember.
230 something episodes. There's a lot, but one that stands out. I don't know.
The one that stands out was when I got grabbed in the ear in Ireland. Every time I think of something, I think of that moment. I actually put my blood all over the grave at the Jamaica episode and took a piece of her grave, and she's been around me ever since. It's little things that you just remember stick out, or what follows me home always makes me think of certain lockdowns, and it's just weird. It's tough.
Shifting gears a little bit, besides ghost hunting, what gets each of you out of bed in the morning?
Coffee?
I would second that. That's the first thing. Probably first.
I don't know. Just stay in bed sometimes.
Me personally, I have a very creative spirit, so I play music. I like to create art. And, I have a production company, so I do a lot with renting equipment out to other projects and films and things. So I always have that passion to be creating, to do something creative, which also helps bring more positivity to my life as well. And so that keeps me going when we're not filming. I'm always trying to keep my brain going.
Spending time with my family and my animals, and I love the outdoors. That's what grounds me. So in between the show and that, family. So.
I paint, and then most of the time to really get in a better mood, after crazy lockdowns, I go to Disneyland and walk around for a couple days and just hang out and feel the good vibe. I feel a little bit better. But before that, I was just oppression for a year. I just painted in my garage, and then now me and my girlfriend, we go do all kinds of fun stuff, and so that kind of helps get out of the house.
What is the scariest thing in Zach's museum that terrifies you the most?
There's a few.
There's a few things, and they're all equally scary, but like the Dybbuk box is top of the list, and
I don't like the Demon House room.
no, I don't like that room either.
You know, it's kind of felt better when the house was demolished, and then to like walk into the room and it's
And he
reassembled.
brings
you know,
part of
and
that to the museum.
Like you could still feel that energy there. So that, and then Ed Gein's The Cauldron, for me, I kind of had a personal experience with that definitely sticks for me.
It's all been, I just look at every single thing there as one same thing, because it's like, they all live together, so it all scares me really bad. It's tough to go in there, that's why usually when episodes, I'm in there off time. I'll go in there once in a while, but I usually just paint and stay, or hang out in California most of the time.
Yeah.
What are some upcoming locations that you're most looking forward to?
And the last few that we filmed, the one that we just filmed in Pasadena.
Oh, God. I did something I should never have done, never done it, did it, never will do it again. You'll see, sorry.
Such a tease.
Every episode is different, every location is different,
Yeah.
the energies at each location is different, and just when we think we've seen it all, something new happens.
Yeah.
But the gentleman that was at the house that we investigated is just a character.
Basically, he could summon some of the
He can
most
summon
crazy
spirits
stuff,
and
which we got total proof of.
we did a seance with him, and it was life changing. So I don't usually get involved with that stuff, but we used a Ouija board. So
Would you ever bring a female
never
along
used
with
it,
you guys?
man.
Would you
Never
ever bring
used
a woman?
Yeah.
We've had a few times, yeah.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
In the past. One new episode that came out, which was cool, was Cerro Gordo. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, yeah.
It's probably one of the most remote places, like just to get to this town. It's in California, just past Death Valley. And literally to get there, it's a 7-mile drive up this dirt road, literally up the mountain, and there's a whole abandoned town up there.
And the road, like literally gave you this much room on the side of
We
your
had to
tire,
cliff.
or you're off.
We had
like,
jeeps and
oh,
stuff. It was crazy. I got some really good
terrifying.
drone shots of the whole ride up though.
I was like, if this is how I go, I'm gonna be freaking pissed. 'Cause I'd rather go with the scary, god damn it.
It was scary. Driving up the road. Very active.
You know, with all the work you guys have put into the show and you know, other shows have done and paranormal teams around the country, does it bother you guys that a lot of times TV just portrays these shows as entertainment and doesn't take it seriously?
Honestly, I probably have I don't ever watch other shows.
Well, I mean,
I could have no clue, like, who's on
Right.
what, and I don't know what they do. Like, I just like to concentrate on what we do, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I watch
Yeah,
horror
there's-
movies and
I
laugh.
feel like I
Well,
get it.
scary.
It's
You
like
know,
a lot of
I
TV.
I asked you guys this because twice I've almost got my own show, paranormal show. Once through Blumhouse and then once through North-South Productions. And when we were developing it, it was all about the entertainment aspect of the show, not that they took the paranormal serious or that it even existed, and that bothered me.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
It can be
pissed me
upsetting
off.
at times, you know, it's frustrating, like we go through all these, especially personal experiences and, you know, and then there's times we catch some evidence that's like, this is gonna change the world, like this is hands down, like that's it, like